Hi students, welcome to another session. So far we are dealing with Unit 4 Human Development. In this session we will continue with the topic of stages of human development, that is we are discussing childhood. Yesterday we have discussed physical development and cognitive development. Today we will continue with the topic, that is socio-emotional development. Socio-emotional development, the important dimensions of children's socio-emotional development are the self, gender, and moral development. It is about the self. It is an identity. It is a personality. Gender is like male and female, or others. You can say there are different parts. A male can have female characteristics. A female can have male characteristics. And moral development, moral values are according to the based on the social culture. Okay. And then during the early years of childhood, some important developments in the self takes place, that is the personality. Here we can simply make it as a personality. The child, due to socialization, has developed a sense of who she or he is and whom she or he wants to be identified with, that is either male or female. The developing sense of independence makes children do things in their own way. So that is in terms of society as divided into gender. There are some requirements in the society and the facilities in the society to live or to develop or to exist. These are the points which are discussed in socio-emotional development. So next to it is, according to Erickson, the way parents respond to their self-initiated activities leads to developing a sense of initiative or sense of guilt. Initiative or sense of guilt. Here we also introduced a person, that is Erickson. Erik Erikson is one of the famous psychologists we have to consider in dealing in understanding psychology. There are 8 stages of Erikson. We will be discussing in the coming slides. We have to understand these stages to have a better understanding about human development. So according to Erikson, the way parents respond to their self-initiated activities, to who they are, the children's, either they initiate play, they initiate language, they initiate speaking, they initiate thinking, whatever the activity, it should be in a positive response. If it is a positive response, it is sense of initiation. If it is a negative response, it is a sense of guilt, like I made a mistake, I got success, I am being encouraged. All these differences will make initiative or guilt. For example, giving freedom and opportunities for play, like cycling, running, skating, etc., are one of the initiatives by children. Answering children's questions will create a sense of support, like you are being caring the child, you have been concerned for the child to get succeed, to learn some new things. All these will give the child a sense of initiation, a sense of confidence. In contrast, if they are made to feel that their questions are useless, like why you are asking these questions, this is like very senseless questions, don't say such words, don't ask such type of questions, all these will lead to a sense of guilt, which in which games played by them are stupid. The children are likely to develop feelings of guilt over self-initiated activities. I want to play this way, I want to play with the doll. Like generally what happens is that a girl playing some man games, in general in society there are masculine related things and feminine related things. So both the things, if a female child identified as a female uh, plays with the male masculine activities or perform masculine activities, the parents generally oppose this, try to stop. So these will affect the child uh, to initiate a sense of guilt. Okay. So next, this is for a reference. This is not a part of the subject. I have given you the reference as introduced Erikson theory. I just have placed these stages for you for an understanding. Generally, a human being, according to Erikson, will be developing in terms of stages. There are 8 stages. So the what is the basic virtue? What has to be developed? It is a sense of hope, will, purpose, competency, fidelity, love, care, wisdom. All these things will be part of the stages of individual development. So in these stages, there will be two extremities like trust and mistrust, autonomy, shame, initiative, guilt. Initiative guilt, when we are discussing the childhood, that is the initiating on guilt stage. This is what we discussed in the earlier slide. Industry versus inferiority during this is also a childhood, like which part I am uh, interested in. Ego identity versus role confusion regarding the gender or the interest, the career identification. Intimacy versus isolation, this happens in creating a family, in creating a partner, in choosing a partner, etc. If it is successful, there is a sense of intimacy. If it is not, sense of isolation, like loneliness. Generativity versus stagnant. Generativity is like a development. Stagnation means it is a one job that will lead to some boring sense. Ego integrity versus despair. Ego integrity, it is like I have done something. Despair means I didn't achieve anything in life. That is what. These are all the stages. Trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame, initiative versus guilt. These are the 8 stages in the human development according to Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson. So coming back to our topic, childhood, self-understanding in early childhood is limited to defining oneself through physical characteristics. I am tall. I have black hair. I am girl. Gender identification. This is like they are identifying themselves with physical characteristics. Like if you see a child, they compare with the physical characteristics. During middle and late childhood, like at the age of 7 or 9, they start developing these cognitive skills like thinking. Then they start comparing the achievements, marks, like etc. Like I have won the game, but initially they are discussing physical characteristics. Now they are also discussing psychological or physiological characteristics. In addition to defining oneself through psychological characteristics, children's self descriptions also include social aspects of self, such as referring to social groups like being a member of school's music club, uh, community. Thus, identifying a social self. Social self. So previously, it is individualistic self. It is like physical self, and then there are social self. Even you can say it as subjective self and objective self. Children's self-understanding also includes social comparison. children. Self-understanding also includes social comparison. So they compare with the other children. So whether they are matching up to the social expectations or not. Children are likely to think about what they can do or cannot do in comparison with others. This is like peer performance. For example, I got more marks than Atul. Atul is a name, just a name for comparison. I can run faster than others in the class. This is like comparison. And as said, it is like comparing the cognitive abilities. Like initially they compare like physical abilities. Now they also compare the mental abilities. This developmental shift leads to establishing one's differences from others as an individual. I can compete. I am this. I am an individual of these characteristics, this gender, this identification, etc. Once the children enter school, their social world expands beyond their families. That is what the friends, neighbors, schoolmates, etc. They also spend greater amount of time with their age mates or peers. Like during school time, like most of the time in this age, most of the people will be spending with their family, with their classmates only. They also, thus, the increased time that children spend with their peers shapes their development. So, what the friends, how they behave, what are their characteristics, what are they thinking about their development, all these will affect. This is what the environment is, the neighbors, all these frame the living conditions, possibilities, all these frame the child's development, that is self, social self. So next, there is a small activities which you have to check. That is, act like a boy if you are a girl, or act like a girl if you are a boy for at least 1 hour in front of your friends and partners. Just perform the activity in the classroom. Just try to observe things, how it is difficult, how to identify yourself as in terms of gender. Reflect on your experience and note others' reaction to your behavior. So, just experiences. You can also ask them about their reactions. How difficult was it to perform like other gender? It is like gender identification, self, attributing self to the gender. So these are the things which are uh, you will experience, you will know what it is in the opposite gender. So next is moral development. So far, socio-emotional development, that is the sense of initiation, sense of guilt. We have seen the stages. We have seen the development. And now we will proceed with moral development. In that activity, we have seen the social identical development. We have performed an activity. Next, we will continue with moral development. Another important aspect of child's development is learning to differentiate between the rightness or wrongness of human acts. The way children comes to distinguish right from wrong, to feel guilty, to put themselves in others people position, and to help others when they are in trouble. All are components of moral development. So there is a socialistic conditions according to their environment. There are some customs, right? Customs. With that, you will be identifying whether you are doing, whether it is socially acceptable or wrong. Just as children pass through the various stages of cognitive development, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, uh, moral moral stages will help you understand. They pass through various stages of moral development which are age related. Okay. The just try to, as discussed, like Erickson, even go through the Kohlberg moral development theory. Just have a glance. Kohlberg interviewed children in which they were presented with stories in which the characteristic fair moral dilemma. Even a moral dilemma, for example, say if your friend is in a trouble, but you but he did a mistake, he or she did a mistake, but you support your friend on moral grounds, it is wrong. But as a friend, you have to support uh, as a friend, right? So there a dilemma comes. Even though your friend committed a mistake, you have to save him. So these are things which gives you moral dilemma. Children were asked what characteristics in the dilemma should do and why. According to him, even you can discuss in stories about moral stories. We have many moral stories in Indian history. We can discuss the moral stories, what is right and what is wrong. According to him, children approach thinking about right and wrong differently at different ages. Like yesterday, we have uh, an experiment like in which tumbler you have more quantity of water, either in thin, tall jar or wide jars. This is a moral dilemma. Even though it is like this is a dilemma to make a decision which has great amount of water. So these are all before 9 years, the people think in different way. Next, external authority like parental opinion. According to him or her, actions are wrong because she is punished. If it is punishment, then it is wrong. If it is encouragement or reward, it is correct. Like I was doing something correct. That is what sense of initiation and sense of guilt we have discussed in earlier slide. As the child grows, that is, by early adolescence, she or he develops moral reasoning through set of rules of others, such as parents or laws of society. Is these things they try to understand. These rules are accepted by children as their own. These are internalized in order to be virtuous and to win approval, rewards, rewards for behavior. All these things will be part of like development from others, not to avoid punishment. It is about winning hearts. It is not about the getting punishment or thing, but it is like development. Children view rules as absolute guidelines. Children see rules as guidelines, but as an adolescent, it is like a restriction which should be followed. Moral thinking at this stage is relatively inflexible. As they grow, they gradually develop a personal moral code. So all these things are uh, part of the development. You have seen that by the end of the childhood, a more gradual growth, that is what discussed in the earlier session, that there is a slow development and it is a lengthy, like 2 to 11 years old will be part of the childhood. Okay. Language develops and the child can reason logically. Socially, the child has become more involved in social systems such as family, peer groups, college students, etc. The next section traces changes in human development during adolescence and adulthood. The next stages will be adolescent and adulthood. So far, we discussed infancy and childhood, and we have come to the stage of 11 years old. Next, 11 to 12, that is next is teenage, that is adolescence. Generally adolescence will last from 12 to 19, some may also call as 21. So this is what childhood is. I think this ends up the slide. So we have some activity. So in the earlier activity, we have like gender roles exchanging. Next, a patient is critically ill in a hospitalized for many years and shows no improvement. Should the life support system of the patient be withdrawn? Some patient is critically ill, that is like a brain hemorrhage or in coma, etc. for many years. So only diet or some requirement, it is like there is no uh, communication from that person, right? What is your view on euthanasia or mercy killing? Euthanasia or mercy killing? There in India also there is lot of discussions happening on this one, as it is sometimes called like mercy killing. Just discuss what it is in India, or according to you, either it is morally acceptable or not. Go through the Kohlberg's theory and come up to some discussion, have a discussion, and have some points. So that's all for this session. Thank you so much. If you have any queries, please go through the Erickson stages. We have discussed Piaget's cognitive development theory. All these things are discussed, very important to understand the human development. And let us meet in the next chapter.